Well, you've made a prediction that over the next 24 months, there's going to be a rise of something you call Statesman Evangelists.
Right.
What exactly is a Statesman Evangelist?
So I'm off to Israel in 24 hours. I'm going to be meeting with Netanyahu. It's so weird. Like, I'm going to be meeting with him, and I'm thinking, Lord, what am I doing down there? The Lord said, go. The door opens, go. So I'm going to be going because the Lord said that Jesus told me that Trump was going to be put back in office for the sake of the nations. And I thought, that's unusual. I thought he was coming back just for making America great. The Lord said, oh no, his agenda is America. But for America's interest to be secured, there has to be a reordering of the global community.
Wow.
China has to be mitigated as a threat. The Panama Canal has to be opened up. Gaza has to be re-seized so that the Middle East doesn't become a tinderbox. Europe has to settle its issue with Russia. So Trump will create a Pax Romana, a period of peace, realigning nations. Now, when that happens, his strange God-given devotion to Christians being persecuted, it's not happening in America, although he went after it, because if you lost a job or aren't getting hired because of DEI, I guess it bothers him. He thinks it's for America, but you know what it really is for? I'll predict it. It's going to come against the persecution of Christians globally.
Wow.
He is raised up as God's instrument for the sake of the nations. And Isaiah 45 says, thus says the Lord of Cyrus, whom I've anointed to go through the two-leaved gates of Babylon, to break these iron gates and to undo the belts of kings. And this I will do for my people Israel's sake, though you haven't known me. Well, now Cyrus knows God. Trump has had an encounter with God. That assassination attempt was his appointment with God. Even he says that changed his life because he believes he's got a life on loan from God for his destiny, and his destiny is America. But here's the deal. Trump himself, I believe, is going to not only establish America's trade relationships with these nations, but there will come a point where the statesman evangelists are going to come along, meaning nations are going to start to open up to the movement of Reformation happening here. Germany just had an election. They moved to the right. France had an election. They moved away from the left. England is going to have an election with Nigel Farage. And in 2 years, it's going to move to the right. There's a global movement of conservative. But what is conservative? It's a movement towards Judeo-Christian values.
Yes.
And they don't want to call it that, but it's a movement to, we don't want to go woke and weird and wacky with open borders and Muslim immigration and terrorism. There's a repulsion against that in Europe right now. Trump is the catalyst of the global reformation happening. And I say sheep nations are going to be rising. Now, for that to happen, when I go to these rulers in South Korea and other countries, what I'm telling them is, if you want what we have in America, a period of domestic peace, strong popularity with your people and prosperity, you need to do what Trump is doing. Trump is saying we need to get religion. He's really saying we need Christianity. He just knows enough not to hit that trigger. You need to have evangelism in your country so that your people develop a healthy patriotism, a respect for authority, a godly orientation against anarchy and against viciousness, violence, and protest and terror. And Christianity will cause that faith to come into your people. It'll stabilize your administration.
Yeah.
It'll produce a conscience so that people won't be committing crime. And it will produce thrift, industry, and prosperity to lift you economically. And we want to do business with you in the United States. And I'm here to represent the United States. I'm open for business, and I represent a lot of businesses working with Donald Trump. That's my story. I guarantee doors. Now, what do I have to do? I agree. What do I supposed to do? I need arenas. I need to get the message out. And I'm telling you, we need statesman evangelists. I need a new generation of young Billy Grahams, of young
Lester Summeralls.
Lester Summeralls.
Yeah.
I don't care whether you cast demons out, so long as you get them saved.
Yeah.
And that I can fill an arena. I'll set it up with these heads of state to send the statesman evangelists to the nations for the great end time harvest.
So every sentence you've just said, everybody has to rewind and watch it in slow motion because there's so much to unpack in each sentence. And I want to ask you about the Pope. I want to ask you about a lot of stuff, but we don't have time. How do people connect with your ministry and glean more, partner with you, all that stuff?
I appreciate you saying that. And you can go to LanceWallnau.com I think /podcast, and then every day. I have to do this every day because the news cycle is so crazy. Every day I have to deliver.
Yeah.
What does this mean? But thank you for asking the right questions, because there's a bigger game of chess going on than Donald Trump's latest antics. Does he really want to buy Greenland? Even with the Pope, this Pope, which is lingering between functional and not functional, the significance is everybody knows the next guy in could be the potential guy that ushers in who is there beyond Trump into the era of the Antichrist. So all eyes are on. There's 3 bad candidates and 2 good ones. So you can go to my X, go to Twitter, or X, go to @Lance Wallnau, WALLN.
The best X account, by the way.
And I just
X.
And I just listed who the candidates are, the 2 good and the 3 bad. And we'll see. I'm believing God for the good guys to get in, because we need conservative Catholics, not Marxist Catholics, just to hold the craziness. Let's keep the Catholic Church from being nutty right now. And so that we can see this revival happen globally, and the Reformation, the rise of sheep nations that will glorify God.
It's information I haven't seen anywhere else. And guys, if you're not following him on X, the link is in the description. Go follow him. And if you want to have fun, look at the comments underneath that post as well.
Oh man,
that's a lot of fun.
I get skewered, but I have to say I'm not practicing my Christian charity always in my responses, only because answer not a fool according to his folly, lest you be like unto him. So I try every technique possible. Sometimes I have to debate. Sometimes I just ignore. But the comments are always interesting.
And we always enjoy it. Lance Wallnau, thank you for being with us.